Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today, it's going to be a match between Reynor and Stats from Homestory Cup, or rather Stay at Homestory Cup number 3. Here on Oxide, the latter edition, top right-hand corner, it is Reynor. He is a Blue Zerg player. He is currently the world champion. And in the bottom left, it is Stats, the incredibly accomplished Korean Protoss player. Alright, so PvZ here for your Sunday cast. Hit that like button if you're excited to see a PvZ featuring Reynor and Stats, two excellent, incredible players. And looks like Stats is going to go ahead and do another hatch block. Oh, hold on. Yep, hatch block indeed. Not enough money to throw down the hatch for that drone. Reynor says, okay, you're blocking my hatch, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw out my first expansion hatchery over here at the third base. No big deal. But you know, it kind of bugs them, right? I kind of feel like it does. Gateway expand here from Stats, no proxies, no weird, you know, single base play. 1817 here for the extractor and the spawning pool. And Terry the Overlord scouting. What's up, Terry? How's it going, dude? Music is so good as well. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I'm Falcon Paladin. I'm out here 5 days a week with StarCraft 2 content. We post stuff on a Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the StarCraft 2. So if you like StarCraft and you enjoy my particular casting styles, then hit that subscribe. I'm here. I'll be here for you. Basically daily. I mean, 5 days a week of StarCraft 2 content. Where else can you get that? I mean, honestly, are there? There might be actually other channels that do that. Never mind. I withdraw my claim that I'm the only channel doing this. I'm very consistent, though. I've been doing this, man. I started in Heart of the Swarm, late Heart of the Swarm, like March 2015. And Heart of the Swarm came out in November 2015. So I've been doing this for a long time. Really enjoy it. You might be wondering why I have so few videos on the channel. The answer is most of them are on my channel that I started with, which is going to be youtube.com/FalconPaladin, just straight up. If you want some of my older casts, that's where you need to go, but I needed to split it off this into its own channel because the Brood War content that I started casting out there after I started doing StarCraft 2 kind of took the channel over. So this is the StarCraft 2 channel now. Welcome. Stargate opening from Stats, nothing too surprising there at all. An Adept moving out for scouting purposes, trying to see if there's anything that she can do as far as scouting is concerned or harassment is concerned. We're just checking to see, is there in fact a third base? And there is, and that's pretty much all that she wants to know. I'm not sure she can accomplish much by herself. Two Adepts have a better shot at doing stuff, and there is another Adept coming up to help out her sister. Void Ray coming in too. Void Ray opening from Stats off that Stargate. All right. We like it. Void Ray is a lot better now than it was, you know, years ago. Void Ray's always been a bit of a meme unit. Nice shading, though. Getting out of there. Do you have any kills, guys? Girls? 1 kill. Anyway. Yeah, just trying to get some harassment in, but actually, ooh, a little bit carelessly losing one of the Adepts. Overlord comes in, sees, okay, it's a Void Ray and an Oracle. You can see the outline of the unit being produced out of the Stargate. It's a little, see, it's just an Oracle in there. It's a little bit, it's more of a shape thing than anything else, but definitely Reynor knows it's an Oracle follow-up. Losing the Overlord temporarily, supply block activity is going to be okay with that, I think. We'll go ahead and Oracle name this one. It is 1440p. Falcon Paladin's new friend reveals cloaked units as well as crystal clear graphics. Wait, I think I already did that one. Hold up. Let's go Raja Gal. In order to trick Kerrigan during the Brood War, her death was only an act. Now the time has come for Raja Gal to return to the battlefield and assist her brethren in restoring their former glory. Hey, Raja Gal. She was kind of a big deal in the Brood War campaign for sure, and then, yes, she was killed. She, unfortunately, I believe was killed by, yeah, if I remember right, Zeratul had to do it. It was not a good time, man. It was a bit of a mercy killing. There were some kind of darker themes in Brood War than I think we got in StarCraft 2, but anyway. Anyway, Raja Gal is back in Oracle format. We'll see if she can survive this battle. That'd be really nice. Air weapons coming in, and additional Void Rays coming in here too. And another Stargate. Okay, we are committing. We are committing to the Stargate opening here for Stats. I don't think we're going right into carriers, but it is fairly good to go for Mass Void Ray and Charge Lot, for example, just because the Void Rays are really good against things like roaches. And the Charge-Lots are good against everything else the Zerg's going to have. Charge-Lots are good against Zerglings. They're good against Hydralisks. They're good against Queens. So we'll see if that's what we're doing here. I'm trying to see if we get a Twilight Council, or if we are more interested in not doing that today. This is a 4K cast, so if you're watching this on a 4K TV, I hope you're enjoying the additional depth and clarity involved there. I kind of made the swap from 1440 to 4K pretty quickly thanks to the influence of Somicron. But anyway, Roach Horn coming up from Reynor, and an Evolution Chamber there too. Recognizing the Void Rays are going to be a problem, we're still pumping Queens. Queen production, I think, will continue pretty much now through the next 5 minutes. I'd be shocked if we kind of stopped at 7. Meanwhile, Raja Gal gets out of there. She's got 6 kills. A lot of those are Lings, but you know what? We'll take them. We'll take Ling kills from the Oracle, especially if she survives for future Revelation casts, which are so important. Being able to toss down Revelation on the Zerg army, see where they are. Being able to tag Lurkers, if that's what we end up seeing in this match as well. But yeah, the 4 Void Rays moving out. This could be a bit of a harass Void Ray style, where it's, my goodness, it's a robotics facility and just 2 Void Rays at a time with +1 attack finishing up. Interesting. Nidus Canal, or yes, Nidus Network rather, coming up here from Reynor. The Void Rays, they can do pretty well at harassment. It's hard to win the game with straight Void Rays against Zerg because the Queens trade so well against them. Like, ridiculously well. Void Rays do no bonus damage versus Queens. The Queens do a ton of damage to air units, and their range is pretty nuts too. You just don't want to fight against Queens straight up. Also, the Transfuse ability is amazing. Right, Transfuse is good. Shield Battery is good for Protoss, but you can only really use those in a defensive position at this stage of the game. I mean, you could have proxied some Void Rays and some Shield Batteries and use them offensively, yes. But in this position, not at all. There we go. Nidus Worm popping up at 650. We got Roaches, Queens, and Zerglings, the tech of the day. Reynor trying to get in here and get this thing taken care of. Really doesn't want the Skytoss army to get up too big. And the attempt is here to try to destroy stats now. We've got Ravagers, we've got Lings and Roaches. It's really just the Void Rays and the Shield Batteries right now. There's a couple sentries. Nice force field gets tossed up. Target firing the Ravagers, recognizing their DPS is really important against the Shield Batteries and even the Void Rays themselves. A lot of the Queens in the back there are not firing. Reynor needs to do a better job getting the Queens up to the front here, but he's also worried about walking them up without being able to defend themselves. There we go. Queens are firing. Shield Battery overcharge. Really doing a good job keeping all these alive. Nice Corrosive Bile hit, though. And the Queens are not able to... There we go. There we go. Slow walking their way up here. Transfusing themselves as well. The Ravagers getting some nice Corrosive Biles off on cannons. Lings and Roaches helping to finish off those cannons. A lot of the energy is gone off of these Shield Batteries. And it looks like Stats is not going to be able to hold on to this third base. However, that might not be game over. Losing the third base will not be as huge of a deal because Reynor does not have a 4th base. And a 3-base to a 2-base scenario for his Protoss is not bad. Additional Void Rays in production all the time. The Micro on display here, not bothering to pull up Prismatic Alignment against Ravagers and Queens because obviously they're not armored. They don't get that bonus damage. But 19 probes have been killed here. Is it enough? Oh, just absolutely picking off units one by one by one. Looks like the energy... Ooh, the energy here for Transfuses seems to be mostly gone. An Immortal wanders up to try to join the party. Roach is kind of trickling in here as well. An absolutely desperate hold here from Stats. Can he hold on to his third Nexus? It appears like he maybe can. Army supply is suddenly 49 to 50 equal army supply. A lot of that army's on the other side of the map for Reynor. Queen's down, third base survives. Raja Gal, incredibly important in surviving the onslaught. Wait, that's a different Oracle. We make... What? I thought Raja Gal had 6 kills. This is a... Wait, no. Anyway. Yar, third base stays alive. A lot of probes died, yes. But it is 68 to 52 workers. Reynor's up on that one. Nice Ling counterattack cruising on in as well. Adept's trying to fire on him. Oracle trying to save the day. Gonna do a really good job eating up these Lings. Really high DPS. Enough energy to kill all of them. And by golly, 15 kills on that Oracle. Such great base defense against Lings. Meanwhile, Ling, Roach, Ravager heading up. Oops, let's go back to production. Sorry about that. Just Void Rays, really. Another Nidus Horn coming up here. Reynor's going to go for round 2. The Void Rays have decided instead, you probably don't have much anti-air anymore. Yeah, there's only 4 Queens on the map and 2 Spore Crawlers. Oh, no. Oh, no. Prismatic Alignment going to pretty easily... Oh, hang on a second. Trying to make sure one Void Ray goes down, but killing the queens first is a nice priority there. The attack on the other side here, some Lings once again getting about 9 probes. Void Rays to defend against that. Not as good as the Oracle is, but that is a dead lair without question. The Void Rays with the upgraded attack here, killing it faster, even without prismatic alignment. Lair goes down, Queen dies because Void Rays are so darn zippity-zoppity. They're so fast. These are pretty efficient. 16 kill Void Ray in one of these. Okay, Reynor making some Hydralisks. Losing your main lair is a huge frigging deal. Looks like there's enough Hydras to clear this out, though. Look at that. Look at the clearing out these Hydras are doing, but the Void Rays are able to run now. That is one of the bigger deals about the upgrade to speed and acceleration for Void Rays, is not so much the chase as it is the ability to retreat from situations where they otherwise would have been left behind and killed. So Reynor rebuilding his main base here, at least tossing a hatchery up. Did he make a lair anywhere else? It appears he doesn't feel like he needs a lair, which I disagree. I think you probably need a lair, Reynor. That's okay. And getting a 4th base here too. So the good news for stats is Chrono Boost is a good unit. Yes, we did end up losing 34 probes, and I've only killed 2 drones today, but it's currently 64 to 61 workers. Stats is not that far behind. Chrono Boost, good unit. And again, Reynor, a bit of an all-in on that attack. Really didn't try to make a ton more workers or a ton more bases. Tried to kill stats fast, and stats was like, I'm going to hold on. How about that? Again, losing a lot of stuff in the meantime, but still definitely able to hold on when it really mattered. And keeping the Nexus alive was huge too. It doesn't count as a base down unless the Nexus dies, and you lose that production of those probes. There you go. Lurker Den coming in. 5 Hydras at a time on the way. Immortal production continuing. Storm getting started here. Charge just about done. Out of Reynor. I'm really shocked Stats did this with basically just Void Rays. I really am. Oh, Hydra. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. Suddenly, it's the nightmare composition for Void Rays to have to deal with. They are running for it though. They do manage to escape. Again, before the last patch, Void Rays would have all died right there. They would have not had the ability to escape from those Hydralisks, and that's why the speed upgrade was so darn important. Another attack coming in. This has been a really scrap game. I'm enjoying it immensely. Holy smokes. Hit that like button if you're enjoying it too. But knocking down some rocks, clearing out an additional attack path here is ye old Lurkers and Hydras and whatnot. Yeah, the Lurkers are actually going to be pretty amazing against the Zealots in these numbers anyway. Ah, the anti-air is just so much here, but the Storm being a bit of an equalizer right now. Getting some really nice storms down on these Hydralisks. Void Rays are getting picked off a little bit here. A Storm just preventing the follow. On the other side of the map, charge lots are inside your bases killing your dudes. And 11 drones go down just about instantly there. And then they just escape. Again, escapability. Huge deal with speed and these Zealots. Absolutely just important. The speed and the ability to run. See, this guy didn't run. He dead. These guys didn't run. They're also dead. These Zealots alive because they ran away. Really appreciated there. Storm blanketing again in an offensive position now, though, from Stats. Got Zealot just kind of ring around the rosying it here with these Hydralisks. But Lurker Spine's pretty damaging to those guys in the smaller numbers, especially when they're lined up. Army supply, 114.84 in favor of the Zerg. The Void Rays are here. The Storm is the splash, and the splash is really what makes the difference. If it wasn't for this High Templar, I feel like this would be a really ill-fated style of an attack. But storming the Hydras and then using the Immortals against the Lurkers as they try to come upon you is really nice. Great kiting. With the Storm following behind, turning your High Templar into Archons. Hopefully keep them alive, but also maybe just slowing down the pursuit of your enemies, if that's all it is. 6 more drones go down. 25 drones have been killed, and Reynor's down to 60 workers. Again, he's pretty generally fairly able to absorb this kind of damage and replace the drones. He's still at 60 workers. It's not like he's suddenly down to 35 or anything, but keeping bases alive, replacing drones when necessary, and making army when necessary. 106 to 84 army supply here in favor of Reynor. Overlord sniped. Zealots doing all right at this 12 o'clock position, but not incredibly so. Hydras again showing up at the natural base. An interesting target to go for. Usually we see Zergs going after the newer sources of income, but holy stormoly, Batman. There's a lot of High Templar here. They are kind of getting picked off a little bit, but also, there you go. Storming like crazy, dude. The Zealots are just having such a great time on the other side of the map while all this stuff is going on right now. Zealots coming in to save the day, and bam! Stats is your winner in 15 minutes and 50 seconds of game one of our sneaky twofer between these two players. That that was hard fought. What an absolutely incredible PvZ there. Nice job by Stats getting the win here too. I'm telling you, Protoss these days, especially in the hands of somebody like Stats, is looking incredibly viable even against somebody like Reynor, who is, again, current world champion of the 2020 year. So maybe it's a bit of a slump from the world champion, but I think Stats playing really well. Again, the Zealot run-bys have been just godlike. 41 to 40 workers killed. So Stats lost a lot in the first half of the game. Reynor lost a lot of workers in the second half of the game, and now is at that 35 worker count. Really just can't afford to replace. He doesn't have any kind of a bank. Replace those drones and replace army. And, I mean, resources lost here is a 30,000 for Reynor and 20,000 for Stats. So the trick is, Void Ray is good as long as you actually have a lot of Storm with them. Get some Immortals if you're dealing with Lurkers. Charge Lots can handle a lot of the other stuff here, especially Hydralisks, and that's what they did. And then just using Charge Lots just, you know, like in run-bys, like Speedlings are used. Not a bad idea. All right, so that's game one of the Sneaky Twofer. Let's go into game number two of the Sneaky Twofer. We'll just be right back. How about that? Game two of the Sneaky Twofer is here on Pillars of Gold. Top right, Reynor. Bottom left, Stats. Quick plug for the podcast, the Falcon Paladin Hour. It is a weekly podcast featuring myself and Summicron, an Australian, as we talk about the StarCraft 2 events of the day, as well as talk about different shows and video games that we're playing and books that we're reading. It's a pretty nerdy podcast, but I figure if you're watching StarCraft 2, you're interested in that stuff. Just search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app, no matter what it is, or just search Falcon Paladin Hour on your web browser and in Spotify. If you like listening to podcasts on Spotify, we are there. Once again, blocking the hatch is Stats. Does this every single PvZ, or at least the ones that I've watched and cast. And Reynor's like, all right, I'll send my drone out at a time where they get 300 minerals as they arrive at the third base spot. There we go. No big deal. I wonder how much that hurts them. As the plaintive guitar music plays in the background. Ah, so nice. I should just provide a cover of all the StarCraft songs hummed by Falcon Paladin. There's not words, so I'm not really singing it. It's more of a humming or a doo-doo-dooing or something like that. Just really one gate expanding his stats. He doesn't feel the need to do anything different against Reynor, which is a bit interesting, because again, we're not drone scouting from the Zerg. You can get away with a proxy better than you can against like a Terran or a fellow Protoss who's more likely to scout you early. That said, Stats is like, I'm good. I feel like if I block the natural hatch of the Zerg and just go one gate expand, I'm ahead at about the 3-minute mark, and that's really all I care about is being ahead there, and then I can make my own luck from that point on, as we saw from that previous game. So amazing stuff, honestly. This is just super duper high level PvZ. I mean, Stats against any of the elite Zerg players, Reynor, Serral, Dark, Rogue, any of those guys against Stats is going to be an excellent PvZ. Never any complaints about it at all. It's the highest level possible. And I'm just glad that they released the replays so that we can see this, right? So this is group stages, and so I don't think a lot of people bother to turn in for the group stages. We usually get the most attention on Twitch out for the playoff, and especially for the final, but this is way before then. So, I mean, if you want to see this matchup, this is your best bet. For Homestory, anyway. But Stargate opening here from Stats, are we surprised by that? No, not really. Honestly, we're not. Speed coming in from Reynor, getting that third base up in his natural. We're going to call it his natural from this point on, just to avoid confusion. And Stats is about ready to take a third. Checking to make sure, are there any lings back here? Anybody hiding to mess with the probe if I send it out? No, not really. Cool. Got a couple of depths. We're making a third one and a Void Ray opening. Again, I mean, the Void Rays did pretty well for themselves. It was a crazy, chaotic, hectic game number 1. And I really feel like either player could have won that thing. But man, the Void Rays holding their own against those queens in the opening attack, and then getting Storm to handle the Hydralisks that joined in the second attack at that third base really just made all the difference. You don't need Storm against queens. Void Rays do okay, especially if shield batteries are helping them. Then the shield batteries can contend with the transfusions of the queens, and everything kind of worked out there for Stats. It could have gone poorly. It really could have. So Void Ray scouted, Oracle follow-up. I guess we'll use this Oracle name. This Oracle's name is Speed Zone. For some reason, this Oracle loves hanging out in the speed zones on different maps. Unfortunately, there's not a speed zone on this map, but that's okay. This is a concerted attempt to make sure the third base doesn't happen. But, again, there's a Void Ray out. Like, you just saw it. I don't know what those lings are doing other than maybe checking to see if a third base is already on the way, but I'm not even sure they got deep enough to see that. So, Reynor understands the futility of trying to take down a third base without a really big concerted effort of bringing queens and roaches and a bunch of zerglings along. Lings alone are not going to do it. You just can't really threaten this third base with lings anymore, and that's probably a good thing. Again, you really can't threaten the Zerg's third base either with like Adepts or Zealots for the most part, so seems fair. Oh, really? Resonating Glaives. Interesting stuff. We don't have a Spore here. Come on, Reynor. Don't let Speed Zone kill you. Speed Zone should not be able to kill you. Why can I not see you? And why are you off the map right now? Whoa! Oh, well, I guess if you go down, it pops out that edge. That's weird, though. This is as far as I can scroll right. Huh. Hiding off screen a little bit. But yeah, Resonating Glaives coming in. We haven't seen this. At least not today. And in conjunction with Void Ray is what I find interesting. Adepts with Void Rays, Alright, I really like Zealots and Void Rays working together, but this is cool. It's going to probably throw Reynor off, and anything that throws your opponent off balance a little bit is going to be pretty effective, I think. Creep spread's pretty good here from Reynor. Bases are connected by creep, which again is the baseline, and then pushing out, especially along this left side, which is interesting. But let the Adept train begin. Choo-choo! All aboard Adept train. Pulling up to the station, we are in Zerg territory. We will be arriving at the third base momentarily. Thank you for flying, Adept Airlines. There will be no snacks served upon this flight. Beautiful wall. Oh, Reynor throws up the wall, but the Adepts are like, we'll just smash through your wall. How's that sound, suckos? The Adepts are in. The Adepts are shooting everything they can. There's Lings dying. There's drones dying. Queens are getting shot as well. Adepts actually transferring to the main. Full evacuation of drones before time. This queen is dead, and she knows it. Swat. She says, Adept shading up. Oh, canceling the shade, but then there's roaches on the way, and you Adepts are in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, did you just... Oh, some more Adepts are doing stuff at the third base, too. Dude, this is crushing. Oh, and then he recalls the Adepts out so they don't die. Nice job, Stats. So 12 drones down, which is... it's a big number in the first 6 minutes of a game, that's for sure. Reynor has been able to absorb different levels of damage that other Zerg players are not necessarily able to do. So look at this. He's still at 64 workers. He's making 4 more drones too, so we'll make it 66. We'll make it about 69 there. Stats at 62 workers and 3 bases. And yeah, it was a fine attack, but really not enough to kill Reynor or even necessarily put him behind, I don't think. Not a whole lot anyway. That's some damage, and there was some lost mining time, sure. But income tab is creeping back up into the Reynor's side of things. There was a nice little area where Stats had some amazing advantage there on the income. But that was mostly because Reynor had a bunch of drones off the minerals because they were running for their lives and not necessarily because of a worker discrepancy. Right. That's what I'm saying. Warp gate's on the way here from Stats. 4th base coming in from Reynor, which feels a little bit late. But it always feels a little bit late to me because the third base by Protoss is so early and so able to be taken and not really threatened. The Zerg's 4th base just feels late every time. I don't know what to tell you. Bunch of Stalkers for the first time today. We didn't see any Stalkers made in the last game. I found that interesting. Hallucinated Phoenix doing some stuff. Baneling Nest on the way, which not great against Stalkers, honestly, but sure. If you can get a big clump of Stalkers, hit them with a Baneling in the middle there, it's not bad. Not as good as it used to be, but, you know, also not terrible. Glial Reconstitution, Roach Ravager here. No sign of a Nidus network today, but definitely some War Prism shenanigans out of stats. We're going to head up this right side, try to warp in. Ooh, I don't know. What do we got? Some Adepts, maybe warp in some, I was going to say Zealots, but Charge is not even close to being done yet, so I'm not sure warping in Zealots would be super effective, although they still hit as hard without Charge. Well, that's not true. Their Charge has an attack. They're still tanky. They could still kill drones pretty quickly, even if they don't have the Charge upgrade. Look at this. Stats is setting up for a 4th base of his own. Reynor's 4th base just finished. The Roaches and Ravagers are taking out their aggressions on rocks. And some Adepts shade in here and get a couple drone kills and instantly get overwhelmed and killed as well. Meanwhile, Adepts in the main base, there are some Roaches defending this area. Reynor recognizing to split up his defenses to different areas of the map so he doesn't get overwhelmed by being attacked in multiple places at once. But still, 6 drones down is pretty good. 20 Speedlings on the way because he saw the number of Stalkers that Stats has made. A lot of Speedlings going to be really good against those Stalkers. Love that play from Reynor. +2. Actually, rather, +1 melee attack is on the way here from Reynor. Working on, Extended Thermal Lance. So we're going to have some Colossus in the mix here, too. A little bit of a Stalker Colossus play. There are some Adepts in here, some Sentries, too, but largely Stalker Colossus, which honestly was the meta in PvZ for a long time in Wings of Liberty. It was just make a ton of Stalkers and like 4 or 5 Colossus and just kind of go. And Zergs really had a hard time with it. So Adepts shade in, get a couple more drone kills. They are sacrificial Adepts. They're going to die and they know it. Which, you know, sometimes you got to make that sacrifice, man. Adepts up here too. Just really willing to knock down the economy of the Zerg player. 28 drones have gone down in exchange for a total of 11 Adepts. Not the greatest trades of all time, but also not too bad. Oracle only has the 4 kills that we've seen her get. And Revelation gets tossed down, and she doesn't die, so that's nice. So Reynor's maxed out. He's got Roach, Ravager, Baneling here with a bunch of Zerglings in the mix, too. The Colossus is going to be pretty good here. The Void Ray is going to be pretty good here, too. The Stalker's fairly terrible, but oh boy. Oh boy. Look at this Void Ray. Like, I'm going to focus you Ravagers. That's what I always do. Queens are here to support against the Void. Going to try to focus her down, the Void Ray rather, as much as they can. +3 attack is on the way here from the ground units for the Protoss, and +2 missile attack on the way from the Zerg. So engagement angles are going to be really important here. Reynor decides just to go for the 3rd base. He's like, hey, if you're not going to engage with me, I'm just going to kill your 3rd. Guardian Shield pops up. Nice force fields. Corrosive Vials do remove the force fields and decent connections. Those Banelings. Good blink away from the Stalkers. The Colossus doing a lot of damage during that battle. Really getting some nice free swipes off on the Banelings especially. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what was that? 16? No, 7, 12, 4 kills, 6 kills. The counterattack here is looking fairly real. We're just making a lot of Banelings in response. 22 Banelings. Not sure that's exactly what we want here necessarily. Is just Banelings, but obviously there are some Roaches in as well. Sharking around. The Void Ray scouts them all. And yeah, I don't know about this. Like, man, force fields plus all the splash damage known to man, plus now the Zealots have charge. And now they're more easily able to take down and chase down your drones. Forcing a counter response here anyway from the Lings and Banes. Reynor really maxed out on this composition. 32 Lings on the way. They are not working on any additional upgrades. Stats is expanded again to the left side right now. Reynor's got a base at the right side. This base might just be toast here on Pillars of Gold. Oh, I don't know. Stats is moving to intercept. He's coming in. And rolling. That is probably a canceled base. I know the army is generally in the neighborhood, but that's a lot of damage. And yeah, ends up canceling the Nexus. Stats does. Zealots running wild over here on the right side of the map, though. Absolutely. Reynor not super paying attention over there. I don't think he did pull his drones away, though. We can see the red moving away. More Zealots coming up. They're going to take down the spine and go after the hatchery while Reynor's just trying to just get us around multiple angles here. But Storm is done now. Oh my gosh. How many Banelings have died? 92 Banelings have been lost in this game. 92 Banelings have been lost. That means they died without exploding on their intended target. That's a lot of dead Banes, man. Resources lost is 15,000 to 7,000. 2-to-1 resources lost in favor of Stats right now. He's got to be feeling pretty good, and guess what he's doing? He's doing his typical Stats carrier transition at about 13 minutes after making sure the Zerg player really has to focus on the ground army. I'm going to be talking about this in Stats PVZs until he goes in the military, but he's got this figured out right now. You basically make a pretty darn hard to deal with ground army for Protoss, right? Carriers, Disruptors, Storm, Archons, all sorts of really, really tough stuff for the Zerg to handle. Immortals. You make them deal with that ground army, and then you start pumping carriers, and then it's a race. Can the Zerg player make enough defense against your Skytoss army to kill it, or will your Skytoss army arrive before they have enough, and then they just die? We've seen Serral fall to this in the past. We've seen Reynor fall to this in the past. We've seen Rogue fall to this in the past. Will Stats be able to pull it off is the larger question. Zealots taking down a spine, beginning to feast on them juicy drones, and then getting distracted by army and absolutely getting murdered. Yeah, but look, this is basically, you can't ignore this. You can't just start pumping Corruptors. You need something to deal with the Archons and the Stalkers and stuff. I guess Corruptors, you know, in this situation, starting Corruptor production sooner to deal with the Colossus would not be a terrible idea, because they'd also have great utility against the Skytoss. But unfortunately, the Spire got started a little bit late, so that's not a possibility. Carrier production already has 3. We've got 3 more on the way. And currently dealing with a carrier army is 3 Queens. Reynor does not have enough to deal with a carrier army with 3 Queens. Is he safe? He's not really saving up gas for Corruptors or anything either. This, oh man, this is just Stats being like, hey, pay attention to my ground army. Deal with it, deal with it, deal with it, deal with it. Banelings rolling in. Nice probe pull. 5 probes go down, and we're just hiding back here until something else shows up. But yeah, deal with the ground army, and then surprise, I have 6 carriers. What do you have to deal with that? And Reynor's like, oh, nothing still, actually. We just made 32 Zerglings after that Spire popped. He knows he doesn't have enough money to build Corruptors, so he's just going to kind of eat Storm. Here, he's in so much trouble. Reynor is in all of the trouble right now. 4 Corruptors on the way. 4 Corruptors is not enough to handle 6 carriers. With Stalker support, with Archon support, the Force Field Storming combo is gorgeous. Look at these Colossus. Just refusing. The Colossus not dying today has been so good. Okay, 1 Colossus goes down. Maybe 2 Colossus have gone down. But just now, and the carrier, that's it, man. We're done. I mean, Reynor has enough army supply. He has enough economy to do this. Does he have enough time to get the Corruptor ball out he needs to handle this? The Zealots are a problem. The Colossus are a problem. The Corruptors can't really engage. There aren't enough of them. 6 Corruptors are on the way, mind you, which is great. But we just warped in a whole ton of Zealots, and now, can you deal with the Zealots on the ground Corruptors? You absolutely cannot. And that's it. That's your GG. Stats is your winner in 16 minutes and an absolute baller play. 3 Colossus went down by the end of the game, but I do want to back it up real quick. As Stats, by the way, wins the sneaky 2 for 2-0, looking exceptionally good doing so. So if we look, how many? Yeah. So these original 4 Colossus that he made, like right off the bat in this game, 43 kills on that Colossus, 27 kills on that Colossus, 40 kills on that Colossus, and 39 kills on that Colossus. These Colossus combined account for over 120, like 160 kills today. Around that, combined for 4 Colossus. This Archon has 20 kills. And yes, they do die here, but them dying allows the carriers to reign supreme. And this is just, I don't know how Zergs handle this, is the problem at the moment. Like, what do? They need to have the army to handle the ground composition that Stats shows up with. They can't just neglect that, or they're going to die. But then it just feels like Protoss is more easily able to tech switch into carriers than Zerg is able to tech switch into the composition they need to handle carriers. It's so interesting to me. I mean, they say that Zerg is the king of tech switching, which is true. But at the same time, Zergs have not been able to handle the tech switch that is on display here from Stats that he has won several PvZs with that I've personally cast over the last 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. It's really interesting stuff. Is it just Stats outplaying his Zerg opponents? Maybe. Maybe, absolutely. Man, 31,000 resources lost for Reynor and 16,000 lost for Stats. 2-to-1 ratio here. 162 Banelings went down. All 7 Corruptors went down. 29 Roaches, a single hatch. 56 drones. Again, just the Zealot run-by counterattacks are so annoying to deal with. That's the thing. Everybody hates those. Protoss hates them. Terran hates them. Zerg absolutely hates them. It's absolutely incredible stuff. All right. Well, wow, that's going to be it for my Sunday cast. I feel like we've seen this show before from Stats. I really like to see a Zerg player that can handle it. And is that Cyril? Is it Reynor? I have to imagine one of these dudes, Stats, Rogues, Dark, is going to figure this out at one point, and Zerg players will be happy. But for now, man, Skytoss looks really good, especially if you transition into it from a really strong ground-based army. Like maybe going straight for Skytoss leaves you vulnerable to these little Queen Roach Ravager attacks before there's a bunch of carriers out. But if you're kind of delaying that carrier transition, you're having a better time of it. The Zerg player can't just show up and easily roll over you because you're skipping a lot of steps to get to carrier. Stats is doing all the steps correctly, and man, absolutely amazing. All right. Absolutely incredible stuff. So that right there is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of a StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.